What is up, guys? Wrestling Premiere is here. This was a long time coming. I always held off on it in favor of something else. And yeah, today's the day I decided, you know what, let's just do it. I was actually going to make the Undertaker title reign video, but I think that's the next video, so yeah. Now, many felt the character of Eugene's was highly offensive and controversial. The portrayal of a mentally handicapped individual didn't sit well with some, while others say the Eugene character was inspirational. The fact that he followed his dream to become a WWE star, well, it gives others hope that maybe your dreams will come true, basically. In this video, I cover Eugene's run in WWE. He had some memorable moments here and there. There was a horrendous heel turn, which I still don't get to this day. He was a jobber, a main eventer at one point in OA, technically. And in general, he was all over the place. Before this video starts, I will dive into some other lower card stars. Sean O'Haire, Jimmy Wang Yang, Jesse and Festus, Jamie Noah. I'll try to get some videos on those guys like I've been doing recently. I'm starting to do more lower card stuff because that's what you guys want, so yeah. Right now, let's get into it. Now, as you may know, Nick Dinsmore, before the Eugene character, was a seasoned vet. He competed in the USWA, WCW, and Ohio Valley Wrestling. In Louisville, Dinsmore struggled to break through. He was known for being a good in-ring talent, but the main roster of WWE never tried calling. So what did he decide to do? He pitched a character. In an interview, Dinsmore elaborated on how the Eugene character was created. And this is what he said, quote-unquote, "I pitched the idea to the writers and they were biting on it. I had also pitched the idea to the agents, Arn Anderson and Dean Malenko. They said that the idea is decent, but wrestling has gone beyond this idea, so I had somewhat shelved the idea. About 6 months later, I was sitting in a meeting with Vince McMahon and Stephanie McMahon. Vince said that he wanted to go back into character-based wrestling, which was in 2004. I pitched this idea that I had, and he said that we should start it on Monday. It took some learning of who Eugene was. At the time, everyone still wanted to be a strong heel like Austin and Goldberg. I wanted to be a comedy, sympathetic babyface. I wanted to sell and do comedy because that was something no one else did. The only kid character that they had was Hurricane Helms. At the time, the shows were split, so I knew that one show wasn't going to have a kid's character, so I saw what the company was missing and I tried to fill that void. And that's what got him on the main roster. This character. Not because of his talents in the ring, it's because of his character. That's what I'm trying to say. This was back when WWE was giving everyone characters. They got the Mexicools, freaking Kerwin White, some random ass stuff they were giving out. And they wanted everyone to be distinctive, basically. Anyways, on the April 5th, 2004 episode of Raw, Eric Bischoff was stressed out over something. In order to solve this problem, he invited William Regal to his office. Now, Regal at this point wasn't seen in about a year. Bischoff wanted a favor from Regal and he asked him to manage his nephew. He verbally made this guy look like $1 million. 6'1", 240 pounds. Special talents, and if Regal follows through, he's back on Raw. Obviously, he believed it was going to be a walk in the park managing Eugene Dinsmore. That's what they called him initially. And later that night, Regal began searching for Eugene, but to no avail, until he found someone that matched the description Eric gave him. Regal was at a loss of words and realized that this wasn't what he signed up for. He barged into Bischoff's office and complained about the window liquor, and while he's trying to resolve the issue, Bischoff shouts at him. He's like, "Where's Eugene?" And he disappeared. Where did he go? Well, he went up to the commentary booth, he licked Jerry Lawler's face, Regal ran in there frantically and took him away, and over the next couple of weeks, Eugene made his presence felt. He called Trish a slut, Jericho's quote, took Molly's wig, and Regal was punching himself. Like, this was basically hell on earth for him. It's not like he could just let him be. He was causing mayhem inside and outside the ring. He cost Rob Conway his match with Rhino by blasting the pyro, and at the same time, Eugene was training to debut on Raw. At first, Regal believed Eugene was just playing, emulating the stars, hitting their finishers. Once he got in there, he realized that the young gun can go, and if anything, it was Eugene that was taking him to school. So Eric Bischoff booked him in a match with Robert Conway for the following week's Raw. It was a ploy to get Eugene to quit, as he believed that being a wrestler is an attainable goal. Eric was stressed out, he didn't want to have to deal with his nephew, so he was looking to smash that dream and get him to quit. He suggested Regal get involved with his debut match and do something. About that, well, mission failed. Eugene actually ended up winning and the fans went crazy. The next week, though, it was something else. On that night, Eugene was set to be interviewed. Regal suggested he go out there alone and be a man. Now, what was this about? Well, it was a plan from Bischoff to get Eugene to quit once again. The coach came out and acted like the biggest jerk. He cut him off when he spoke. He told him the crowd wasn't cheering for him. They were laughing at him. And coach also called Eugene a joke. He said that Eugene is supposed to be a laughingstock and that's his purpose on Raw. He called him an embarrassment and told him that he only has a job because Eric's his uncle. He bullied the hell out of him, told him that no girl would look at him twice, let alone once, and Eugene was gone. That's it. Coach managed to do it. He bullied Eugene verbally and got him to quit. The fans booed and Eugene slowly walked to the back asshole chants intensified when The Rock's music played. Damn, when I was making this video, I got goosebumps from this one. It was such an unexpected return. He was in Hollywood, and he took time to pay a visit to San Diego to be there. Rock shouted, "Eugene ain't going nowhere," and he debunked Coach's claim that the people think Eugene's a joke. He assured them that the fans like him, and he had the fans in the palm of his hands. He managed to instigate a Eugene chant, and it was loud and clear. The Rock was even honored to be Eugene's friend. He then shifted his focus to Coach and instigated a popcorn fart chant. Coach mentioned the Great One's loss at WrestleMania, and this led to Eugene shouting, "It doesn't matter what you think." Then the best part. So The Rock's standing in the ring, he's asking Eugene a couple of questions. He asks him, "Who's your boy?" The Rock. "Who's the people's champion?" The Rock. "Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?" Triple H. Rock is smiling, but then he realizes, wait, what? He was completely caught off guard, and he quickly rebounded by threatening to slap Coach's lips. So all was forgotten. Rock asked Eugene why he likes Triple H, and his response, "We like to play games." Rock assured him that Hunter doesn't like games, and the only game he likes is Hide the Strudel. Then Garrison Cade interrupted and attacked. Eugene fought back, The Rock fought back, and if you've never watched this segment, you've got to. So damn entertaining. The crowd was electric, and Rock's endorsement of Eugene went very well with the fans. He went completely out of his way to put over Eugene massively when he could have done something else. He could have just done an interview in the ring alone. Over the next couple of weeks, Eugene went on an undefeated streak of sorts. He beat Kane by DQ, he got rid of Johnny Nitro, who at this point was barely on the main roster. Eugene was emulating the WWE legends, hitting a bunch of their finishers. And Coach, meanwhile, he was very confident that he's going to derail the Eugene train. About that match at Bad Blood, well, Coach is out there wearing I don't know what. He took a jab at Ohio, brought out a cookie lady to go to Eugene, and despite his efforts, he couldn't beat him. Regal, after the match, came out to celebrate and slowly began taking a liking to Bischoff's nephew. The next night, though, things were very different. Eugene was invited to the highlight reel. Along with Chris Jericho, they were chatting and having fun, but then Evolution crashed the festivities. Now, why did they come out? Well, Triple H was set to face Eugene the next week. Jericho tried to convince Eugene that Triple H cares about nobody and that match is a way to end his own career. Upon hearing this, the game interrupted, and Eugene, well, it's like the moment SpongeBob saw Santa. The game was acting nice, Randy and Flair were friendly, everyone could see through the farce except for Eugene himself, and to show he's very nice and friendly, Triple H gave Eugene a present. A Triple H hat, a Triple H t-shirt. Hell, he was even gonna sign an autograph for his own buddy. The little guy was marking out, and if that wasn't enough, Eugene was asked to sign an autograph for the game himself. They even took a picture together, and there was a little scare there when he was asked to say pedigree on 3. But the game realized that Eugene could be a very dangerous, a very valuable asset. Regal, though, didn't even have an ounce of trust for Triple H. As for the match, well, Regal had an issue. Eugene being fed to the wolves was very unethical in the eyes of himself and everyone except Eric Bischoff, who refused to cancel the match. Eugene, meanwhile, arrived to the arena with Evolution. He got to dress up in their locker room. Hell, he even got to do the water spit with Triple H. It was slowly building up to the slaughter, and that's what it was about. The match itself, though, Eugene actually looked comfortable out there. He whooped the game's ass, simply put, but a Flair distraction paid dividends for Triple H as he got to hit that pedigree. All of a sudden, Eric Bischoff came on and demanded that Triple H beat the hell out of Eugene because he was going easy on him. Not just beat him in a wrestling match, but assault him. And if he doesn't do it, then his title shot at Vengeance is gone. Just when it was about to happen, Chris Benoit made the save. Unfortunately, though, Benoit accidentally blasted Eugene with a chair, and this gave way to a pedigree. Now you're probably wondering, where's Regal? Well, he got assaulted by Kane, and so he wasn't able to interfere in the match. Over the next couple of weeks, Triple H continued to get Eugene on Evolution's side. He convinced him to go against Regal, and one night while Bischoff was away, Eugene became the general manager of Raw for the night. He booked a bunch of stars in the game of musical chairs. Triple H, meanwhile, was very conniving. He got Eugene to see from his perspective and get him to help in the main event of Vengeance. About that, well, Game's plan backfired. He told him Chris Benoit is bad. He was right about that one. During the title match, Eugene was very conflicted. He wasn't sure as to use the chair on Benoit or Triple H, and in the end, Benoit tried pulling it away only for the chair to slingshot right into his best friend's face. He began crying, and Benoit capitalized and stole the victory. The next night, Triple H was angry. He was very pissed off, and so was the rest of Evolution. But once Eugene entered the room, he had a smile on his face. Batista was pissed off at the fact that he took Eugene to Chuck E. Cheese. Ric Flair was frustrated over the tag match from the previous night, and Orton blamed Eugene for the title loss at Vengeance because he was forced to defend the title a week earlier against Jericho. Later that night, Eugene challenged for the world title, and he thought he captured the title when Evolution marched down to the ring. The little guy thought they were out here to celebrate, but they clearly weren't. They left him for dead. They left him a bloody heap. They destroyed him. They did everything they could to leave him laying down there in a puddle of his own blood. He wouldn't be away though for long, as 2 weeks later he interfered in the game's Iron Man match, and his presence proved to be extremely crucial to the result, as Chris Benoit ended up retaining his title. Obviously the game was livid and he was going to do something about it, but before he did, he tried calling him out the following week. He's yelling, "Eugene, come out here." And it wasn't he who came out. It was actually William Regal, who hadn't been seen with Eugene in about a month. Now this promo, many, including myself, believe it's Regal's very best. He informed Triple H that Eugene isn't here this week, and he revealed that it was he who let Eugene in the building. You know, it was me, sunshine. He gave the fans a little history lesson, informing them that he used to mentor Triple H 11 years ago, and if it was anyone else that Triple H manipulated, he would have praised his cunning. But to take advantage of a disadvantaged boy, it's foolish. And then all of a sudden, William Regal turned up the tempo. He was ready to battle Triple H and kick his ass with every ounce of bile and venom that runs through his veins. I didn't do it justice. You gotta go watch it yourself, because even if I explain it word for word, it ain't enough. As for the match, Regal did bring the fight, but Triple H was just a heartless soul. Despite standing tall in the end, Triple H approached Regal and told him he's going after Eugene. Game was going berserk. He flipped the stretcher. JR was disgusted. The fans were booing. And since he basically killed Regal, Eric Bischoff decided to reward his favorite wrestler with a match against Eugene at SummerSlam. And this moment, it's out of a movie. Pure super villain. On the final Raw before SummerSlam, in an effort to keep Eugene safe, William Regal locked him in a hotel. Regal was wise, knowing that if they were in the arena, it would cause nothing but anarchy for themselves. Evolution would basically attack. Unfortunately for Regal, Eugene ran away without permission. That's right, he snuck out to the arena and called out Triple H. The game appeared via Titantron and told Eugene that he doesn't listen. He defies orders. He cost him the title, and despite all of this, Eugene hasn't gotten it yet. He hasn't understood anything, and the game told Eugene he's at the hotel room. The game put what happened at the hotel on Eugene, and he began crying. He left William Regal a bloody heap, and this was Eugene's wrongdoing because, well, he basically made a rookie mistake, and he ended up paying. Well, Regal did. As for the match at SummerSlam, it wasn't the best match in the world. The last time I did watch it, it felt average. It was watchable, though, and Eugene looked pretty good out there, and he proved to be an unpredictable opponent for Triple H. He countered the pedigree, hit a damn stunner, and he even flipped the bird. Throughout the match, he was one step ahead of Triple H, and it was he who hit the pedigree first. This would have gotten him the victory, but Flair put the game's foot on the rope. The ref then ejected Flair out of there because he noticed he was doing some stuff, and Regal came out. He blasted Ric Flair with the brass knucks. Eugene watched on from a distance, and once he turned around, he received the pedigree. Despite the loss, he seemed pretty good out there, and he lost to a damn distraction. But it was all downhill from here. Sure, he got a victory against Triple H a week later, not clean, but he lost the steel cage match afterwards. Eugene was involved in segments for comedy purposes, as he intended to be. He won the tag titles with Regal in England, but that ruling was overturned and the match was restarted, and so they never won. This was because Regal used brass knucks, and Bischoff had an issue with Eugene, hence the restarts. Also, the reason why Bischoff had an issue with Eugene was because they were set to face off at Taboo Tuesday. So yeah. About that, well, the fans voted for hair versus hair, and Eugene won. Vince came out and forced Eric to sit in that barber's chair, and he made Coach wear a dress. It was basically a 2-for-1 special. I'll dive into Bischoff's run very soon, but as for Eugene, he won the Tag Team Championships with William Regal for real on the November 15th, 2004 episode of Raw. It showed that dreams do come true. Now, their title run wasn't noteworthy or anything like that, but it showed that, like I said, dreams do come true. You could do whatever you want as long as you set your mind to it. Unfortunately, in their first title defense, Eugene blew out his knee. After Eugene was tagged into the match with Tomko and Christian, he was knocking him down, hitting lefts and right. But the moment he suffered an injury, it was from the simplest move, a freaking dropkick. This left him sidelined for 6 months, and the titles, well, Regal was forced to defend them, along with the coach at a house show. They lost them, and Regal eventually regained them with Tajiri in Japan. In his time away, Eugene made only one appearance, and that was at WrestleMania 21. He was talking about WrestleMania moments, Muhammad Hassan attacked him, and Hulk Hogan made the save. But his official return occurred on the July 25th, 2005 episode of Raw. Kurt Angle on that night hosted his own invitational where he put his gold medal on the line. Christy Hemme ended up answering the challenge despite Angle's ruling on the opponents being from their hometown. She wasn't out there to wrestle, obviously, but she was here to introduce Eugene, who wasn't even from Cleveland. It got a somewhat loud pop, and all Angle could take out of this was the fact that Eugene wasn't even from Cleveland. So Eugene decided, you know what? Let's take off the jacket, and he revealed a Browns jersey. They went back and forth. I'm from Cleveland. No, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. Yes, I am. And Angle, he was overall rude. And seeing as Eugene was claiming he's from Cleveland, he'll give him the match. 3-minute time limit, by the way. Throughout the match, Angle punished Eugene and he was taking his time. This would come back to bite him as Eugene countered the ankle lock with 10 seconds left, and he won the whole damn thing. Angle was fuming, Eugene was ecstatic, and now he was in possession of the gold medal. Over the next couple of weeks, Eugene would defend the gold in his own invitational. Kurt Angle answered the first challenge, and since Angle's from Pittsburgh, Eugene refused to face him, and Angle asked if there's anyone who's even from Connecticut, who's even from the Mohegans. And out came Tatanka, the first time in 9 years he's in a WWE ring. Eugene gave him the match. Angle interfered once again, and he got his ass whooped. He obviously whined about this, but he assured everyone that he's going to win that gold medal back in his hometown of Pittsburgh next week. This time, Angle was actually cheered. I mean, he was in his own damn hometown, so there's that. Eugene had a mostly positive reception, but you could hear some of the boos. They got into an argument over whether or not Eugene was an Olympic gold medalist, and Angle managed to get the crowd against him. Not completely, obviously. About the match itself, Kurt Angle was 100% focused. Problem was the fact that Eugene was resilient, and when Angle had the match wrapped up, he accidentally bumped into the ref, who was clearly having a bad day, and so he got disqualified. The Olympic hero did assert his dominance, but Hulk Hogan made the save and sent him running. But it was all good from here on for Kurt Angle. Why? Well, he gets Eugene in a match at SummerSlam. No time limits, and it was for the gold medal. He promised to destroy him and beat him within an inch of his life. Now, the match at SummerSlam was what Kurt Angle intended it to be. The fans booed Eugene, he got his ass beat, and Angle was aggressive in his pursuit of the gold. It wasn't a complete one-sided match, though. Eugene actually had a couple of classic finishers on Angle, and hell, he even locked in the ankle lock. But after bumping into the turnbuckle, that was it. Angle hit the angle slam and locked him in the ankle lock to regain his gold medal. So now that Eugene was no longer a gold medalist, he fell down the card. Sure, he had his moments here and there, but he was mostly enhancement and talent. He got suspended in November, the week of Eddie Guerrero's death, because he overdosed on somas, and I believe he was the first person to violate the new wellness policy. Upon his return, he's losing matches left and right. He had a small thing with Matt Striker, which isn't really video-worthy, to be honest, because if it was, I would have been talking about it right now. On the July 10th, 2006 episode of Raw, in an effort to send a message to DX, the McMahons challenged Eugene to a match. He was laughing at DX antics, and they decided to punish him. Later that night, he realized what's going on and apologized if he made anyone mad. Vince, though, was like, "Oh, you did nothing wrong, Eugene. It's okay, blah, blah, blah." And he was nice enough to hand Eugene a gift. A DX t-shirt and green paint. McMahon clotheslined him. They gave him a little toilet swirly, and he was utterly embarrassed. He received a beating from the Spear Squad, but DX made the save. Verbally, they stood on the stage and managed to distract Vince long enough for Eugene to swoop in there and steal the victory. JR was going crazy. By God, Eugene's just upset Vince. Stuff like that. It was wild. Following this, Eugene began teaming up with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. The team did appear on Raw nearly every week. They were featured on Sunday Night Heat, but the team wasn't that notable. Their most memorable moment was probably on the November 6th episode of Raw. Eugene's uncle Eric was in control of Raw that night. Since he got to do whatever he wanted, he booked the Spear Squad in a match against Eugene and Hacksaw, and the losing team was split. The green paint was still on Eugene's jacket and the trunks. The match itself saw Johnny cheat to win, meaning Eugene and Jim Duggan must split. It was 2-on-2 obviously, but the 3 other Spear Squad members influenced the match from the outside. Eugene was angry about the loss and decided to lash out on Jim Duggan. And suddenly he became a maniac. He's shouting, he's going crazy, he's ripping his hair out, and he was a heel. Despite this, nothing changed. I mean, he still came out all shy, but there was no story for this one. All that was different was Eugene shouting, "I'm special." He thought the fans were making fun of him. He was acting like a spoiled brat. He believed everything was entitled to him. He wanted a kiss from 2 women. He's shouting, "I'm special," and he was forcing himself on one of them. So Val Venus had to intervene. Unfortunately for him, he was dealing with a monster and he received a beating. Eventually, this thing was dropped for no apparent reason. Well, maybe they realized it was a bad idea. They pretended like this heel turn never happened, because there was nothing good about it. Nothing came out of it at all. Had something came out of it, sure, they would have acknowledged it, but nothing happened. I barely remember this. On the March 19th, 2007 episode of Raw, Eugene accidentally spilled some sort of drink on the boss, and so he responded by booking him in a match with Umaga. The match was completely one-sided, and Umaga won emphatically. Vince then shaved Eugene's head, sending a message to Trump for WrestleMania. And after this, he was never the same. The guy lost every match he was in, and he was drafted to SmackDown, where he lost to just about everyone. His final appearance came on the August 31st, 2007 episode of SmackDown, where he was utterly destroyed by Mark Henry. He was released on September 3rd, 2007, and that's all. Overall, Eugene's run had its fair share of ups and downs. He was pretty good out there in the beginning, but after that, he was never the same. The character limited his in-ring skills, therefore it was going to limit his potential, basically. He wanted it until he got it. Is the character memorable? Yes. Hell yeah, Eugene the character is very memorable for good and for bad. He had his moments. The Rock segment is one of my favorite segments of 2004. He made him look like $1,000,000. His story with Triple H was cool. It brought out that amazing William Regal promo. And after that, well, he was just a jobber. Was he underutilized? No, I wouldn't say that. That doesn't make sense in my opinion. But he did what he could do. Like, he accomplished everything that his character could do in the company. That's what I'm trying to say. Eugene's character was memorable. Was he controversial? Maybe. Was he inspirational? Yes. He was certainly inspirational. What did you guys think of Eugene's run? Please comment down below. And that's it for this video. Make sure you hit a stone cold star on the like button, perhaps the rock bottom on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.